Well, for me, highlight of the day, this is the bit that I'm now going to sit back and watch, and more importantly, I'm going to go trackside and listen, because these, for me, are just the cars. The Group C's, of course, and tomorrow, around about this time, we'll be seeing them sort of gathering in the paddock, because they are going to be our twilight race. It will finish at about 9:10 tomorrow. These cars, some of them you kind of might look at and think, don't recognise that, but there's others, including one there, the Porsche, of course, that you definitely will notice at our cameraman heading towards right now. And we've got plenty of cars there that I can assure you, when you see them out on track, you will recognise them absolutely. We've got silk cut Jaguars and so on out there as well, and some of the older Jaguars. For me, Titch, I have to say this for me is the highlight of the weekend. I've got so many fond memories of Le Mans, and particularly probably around this sort of era, the kind of when Jonathan Palmer was you know, out competing, the Jaguars as well, silk cut with the late and missed Tom Walkinshaw. For me, this is the highlight of the weekend.
Thanks, Gary. Well, the Group C cars will be coming out pretty soon. We haven't yet got the screen cleared for the Masters race, so I don't know how many minutes it's going to be. It should be 40 minutes. A very exciting, well, we've got two quick additional entries to give you. Page 30 is the page of the programme. And we've got, running in the C1 class, number 41. Again, we've got them the wrong way round, I'm afraid. I don't know quite why we can't be consistent in the programme. But this is Mercer. David Mercer is the driver, shown as Mercer David. GB is nationality. The car is his Spice SE90C, Cosworth DFE powered car, well, Cosworth DFL powered car actually. It's an enlarged DFE engine to 3.5 litres. So it's a 1990 car, 3,500 cc's. The colour is blue and white. That's number 41. I'll give you the best till last. Number 60 is a non-starter. 116 is a non-starter. Sadly, the former French Formula 3 star, Pierre-Francois Rousselot, not here with his Spice. But we've got a Class C3, and we've got a car in it. There's number 2. Say Class C3. It's a very well-known French driver by the name of Nicolas Minassian, who's French, and the car is a Peugeot 905. Fantastic car, 1992, 3,500 cc's, the V12 Peugeot. Colour is white, and assuming it's here, it's a late entry, but I've no reason to suppose it's not here. But the prospect of seeing, I think we've got it there on the screen, haven't we? The prospect of seeing a really good drive, really quick driver in one of these Peugeots. Here it is, coming into Copse Corner, Esso across the front of it, is going to be a real treat. And we've got the other, well, there's the Jägermeister number 17, the Porsche of Christophe Dansenborg and Hervé Regout, who can trace his racing roots back to the 1970s. But this is the sort of car with which the president of the BRDC, i.e. Derek Warwick, won the World Sports Car Championship and Le Mans in 1992, when the team was managed by a certain Monsieur Jean Todt, and with Marc Blundell and Yannick Dalmas, the multiple winner of Le Mans, Yannick Dalmas. Derek won Le Mans. I'm not saying it's with this particular car, but it's this type of car. And Gary was getting really quite excited about some of the Jaguar. Well, we've got a Jaguar, not as many Jaguars as we'd like. We've got 3 Lancias. But this is the ultimate Group C car. I know that Group C was not quite what it had been when the Peugeots and the Toyotas came along with their Formula 1 type engines. And Bernie and the FIA were busy trying to encourage everybody to get into Formula 1. And of course, Peugeot did go for a time into Formula 1. But this is a real standard setter in Group C terms. It's wonderful to have this car here. Those of you who stayed late to watch it are in for a treat. What time he's going to end up with is, well, we're getting the full 40 minutes here, so it's not being curtailed at all, quite rightly.
One thing that must be pointed out here, the sound that Peugeot made as it came past the pits, it's much higher than I remember, and I did watch them enormously in period, but I love, from that absolute thoroughbred, following it round was the red Viscander from Australia, which is the other end of the spectrum, I think we can say. It used to be raced by John Bowe, but it was very quick at the hands of Paul Stubber at Le Mans in the support race this year.
Have you looked at it closely?
I have.
Yeah.
Looks though I made it.
Do you think so? Because I would say the standard at which that car's been prepared is a really, really high standard, and it goes seriously quickly. Although the driver, Paul Stubber, has not done that much racing. John Bowe, as you say, was the guy who won the Australian Sports Car Championship with the car. He did one World Championship sports car race in Australia in period, but it's beautifully turned out, and Pat Bruce makes cars to a very high standard. I would have thought that car it's a great credit to technology that existed on the other side of the world when Group C technology was really all in Europe.
Yeah, no, I was being a bit facetious, Ian. It's
Thank
just
you.
simply the fact he obviously didn't have the money to come and
No.
compete anywhere
That's
apart
right.
from Sandown Park.
Yeah.
But it gets out a lot in historic racing over there. So Phillip Island, Silverstone, pretty
Yeah.
similar.
Quite. But this Peugeot, maybe it sounds a bit higher, but it's just a superb car, the ultimate Group C car, this. And it's great to see it out. And I can't see, and whether Bruce has an idea or Chris, who's going to match the pace of this? A really quick driver in the state-of-the-art Group C car.
It's going to be very, very difficult to beat that, isn't it? Fantastic sounding car, as Bruce said. A huge rear wing on it as well. It's bigger than my house, that rear wing, and so close to the ground as well. A really distinctive design to the car, and it's going to be a really interesting session, this, actually, because I mean, looking around the skies, to touch wood, we're not going to get any more rain now, so it is, you know, potentially, even possibly in a 40-minute session, going to be something close to dry by the end of this. The lap times should be coming down all the way through the session.
Yes, I think you're right. I don't know, we'll never get to the stage where they have to think about going on to slick tyres, but whether they have intermediates available, perhaps Bruce can suss that out for us. There's the Viscandia that we were talking about, the Australian car, which didn't disgrace itself in that one race, Sandown Park. And a very effective car this is. And bear in mind that, although it's done a bit of racing in Australia, recent times and historically, Paul Stubber is not an experienced driver, unlike John Bowe, who raced the car in period.
Well, we have our first pit caller, the Jägermeister, the bright orange Porsche's come in, 962. I don't know who went out first, whether it was Hervé Regu or Christian Assenberg, but in answer to the questions, we have loads of piles of slick tyres up and down the pit lane, a few cut slicks, and rain tyres of all varieties, so they've got it covered, I'd say.
Well, are there some, I mean, cut slicks obviously are possibly useful, but do you have anything that you might regard as lightly grooved tyres that we regard as intermediates? Are there any of those?
No, I haven't.
No.
I'm afraid.
So there's the Viscandia. The fastest time has been done now by the Lancia, Roger Wills, in the Martini Lancia. Roger Wills, the man of many cars, who's been out in just about every session today.
I was going to say, he's only done 100 laps so far, poor fellow.
Yeah, wet, dry, mixed, slippery. He's had just about everything that Silverstone's been able to throw at him in some car or other. And his time at 2:21.043. There's the answer to our question. Nicolas Massion at the moment second quickest. David Mercer, the other extra runner that I mentioned in his Spice, hugely experienced driver, the Kent dentist, he is third quickest. And fourth fastest is number 12. That is Russell Kempnick with his Iseki Porsche 956, Iseki livery, that is, Porsche 956.
Our first spinner is one of the Spices, number 102. That's the Peter and Andy Merrick car. Andy Merrick. Driver, wouldn't he?
It's only Peter Merrick.
It's only Peter Merrick.
Yeah, Andy Merrick is a non-starter.
Right.
He's not driving it.
Okay. It's a shame because he'd go well normally, wouldn't he? But yeah, first spin. It was here at the loop. No dramas. It's got going again. But there is far, far less spray now heading up the Wellington Straight.
So we've got, at the moment, 3 Martini Lancias. Duncan Mackay, Robin Ward showing number 4, Roger Wills number 5, Rupert Cleveley in number 6. And obviously at Le Mans there'll be 3 cars. I reckon that either here or at Brands Hatch there might well have been 3 cars as well. But generally they ran 2. So that they have 3 all at the same time is a rare event. Cars driven by the likes of Riccardo Patrese and Michele Alboreto and Andrea De Cesaris and Bob Wallach. Regular competitors, many successful in these cars, but Riccardo Patrese was really the star in the Martini Lancia, but with some very good backup. So Roger Wills, Nicolas Massion have both now done 2 flying laps. David Mercer, Russell Kempnick going nicely, and up to third quickest goes this Vescandia. So number 21, it did show well at Donington Park earlier in the year, and Paul Stubber certainly doesn't hang about. We've got just coming past us here the Tic Tac, number 33 Tic Tac Minsk car of Henrik Lindberg. I think where it says second driver Lindberg Eyewear, that is not a person, that is its entrant. There's number 5 then, Roger Wills. Nicolas Menassion second quickest, and Roger Wills going quicker and quicker. Well, certainly, as Bruce was implying, Roger Wills has been round Silverstone for many, many laps today, whereas for Nicolas Menassion, it's his first visit to Silverstone, I think since the 1000 Ks a couple of years ago.
We touched on the fact that car 112, the Canada Shoes livery Tiger, had a spin. I'm afraid we got a bit of frontal damage. This grass stuck to one headlight, and the bottom of the other headlight, the awning, the fairing has come off. The floor's a little bit broken. Mud all over the windscreen, but I think otherwise we're okay. Jonathan Fay, car 112.
Okay. Yeah, he goes quite well with that car, the Tiger. Not really generally that competitive against the Spices in period. We've got a Jaguar now, Richard Eyre up into the top 6, number 22, with the XJR16, the 3-litre V6 twin-turbo powered car. Nicolas Menassion picking up pace and narrowing the gap between himself and Roger Wills. I don't think he'll sleep well tonight, Nicolas, if he can't get pole position. At the moment, he's got to find another second or so to eclipse the New Zealander. There's the Roger Wills car. Up to 4th quickest has come number 27, which is Steve Tandy with his Nissan R90, 1990 car. 1990 was really, I suppose, the pinnacle of Group C racing, when there was something like 6 or 7 manufacturers and there was something like 35 cars on the grid, and of course the Sauber Mercedes, and we have number 62, the car of Gareth Evans, the C9, that's a 1989 car. That was the year that the C9 Sauber Mercedes won Le Mans, with Stanley Dickens and Manuel Reuter and Jochen Mass. And Roger Wills just going quicker and quicker. I think the previous experience of the circuit that he's had today is certainly paying dividends here. He's now 3.3 seconds quicker than Nicolas Menassion. The Sauber Mercedes, at the moment, Gareth Evans understandably taking things gently with that car. And Peter Merrick goes 3rd in his C2 Spice, number 102. Peter Merrick now 3rd quickest, with his number 102 Spice, SE89C. Everything going well over with you, Chris?
Yeah, they're getting through this part of the course without any real dramas, to be fair. It might get trickier, oddly enough, when it dries up a bit more, when it starts to get greasy and there's less surface water and the tyres aren't really working as well. And of course the drivers start to push a bit more. So they've got a few bankers and they're trying to push and find the extra grip out there. That's when they might start to get a bit more leery. But for the time being, they're all being fairly smooth through a potentially tricky corner at the loop.
A car worth keeping an eye on, although at the moment it's quite a long way down the times, is number 111, Mike Donovan, who had quite a hefty accident in the historic Group C race before Le Mans this year, but he goes very quickly in that Spice, C2 Spice. At the moment he's 3rd in the class. Peter Merrick is way up amongst the C1 cars. Roger Wills being the quickest, Nicolas Menassion 2nd in the Peugeot.
Problem for car 111, the Mike Donovan Spice, water and electrics. They're just trying to dry it out. At the moment, he's sitting in the pits, but he's staying in the car. Mechanics have just gone off at the sort of pace that would shame Usain Bolt to whiz back to the transporter to get whatever is required. And one of the Lanciers is in. Doesn't help, they're all Martini liveried. I'll have to walk down there and find out who it is, but as you say, 111 stuck aside at the moment.
Okay, what about David Mercer? Has he been in? Because David started off the session pretty well, but he's now dropped down the times rather.
No, not in the pits as yet.
Okay. Rupert Cleveley moving up in the Lancia number 6 now, has gone 6 quicker. So the order is still Roger Wills in the number 5 Lancia. 2nd is the number 2 Peugeot. 3rd is the Nissan, there it is on the screen. number 27 of Steve Tandy. Fourth is the Viscandia, number 21 of Peter Stubber. Fifth is Peter Merrick in the C2 Spice, and sixth is number 6, Rupert Cleveley. Seventh is the shared car, the Jägermeister Porsche. Fantastic livery, that, the Jägermeister livery, shared by Hervé Ragout and Christophe Dansenburg. Richard Ayres dropped down to 8th. Gareth Evans in the Sauber Mercedes has come up to 9th, and 10th is David Mercer.
Well, you talked to, we don't have many drivers to change, but Duncan Mackay has just jumped out of the Lancia I was trying to identify. Car number 4, Robin Ward, will take that over, so he's split the session. But I think we only have 3 cars with 2 drivers aboard. That is one at a time, of course.
Quite so. Martin O'Connell should be taking over from Chris Roach if that car is out. I'm just looking to see whether in fact it's there, number 23. No, I don't think it is. So that's one of the shared cars gone. We've got the number 17 Jägermeister Porsche, we know. Bruce has just told us about the Lancia number 4. And we know that Andy Merrick isn't here to share with his dad. So in fact, we only seem to have 1 or 2 shared cars, I mean. Number 17 and number 4. And as the track gets drier, how's it doing, Chris, with you? Drier? Less wet?
Yeah, certainly. Again, there's still reasonable amount of spray going onto the straight. It's not that bad at all coming through Beckett's. The car seems to be carrying quite a bit of speed through here. So it's just quite a slow process. It didn't actually rain for all that long, did it? It's been a huge amount of rain that fell, a real cloudburst as they went through. Now Steve Tandy will start to improve now. He seemed a bit slow out of the blocks, but looks like he's starting to build a bit of speed up now in the 27.
I have Duncan Mackay, who can tell us what the track conditions are like. Duncan, what are they like?
It's not too bad now. There's still puddles around, but you can see where they are, and there is.
But obviously, we saw in the previous session lots of cars, about, I don't know, 15, a dozen, spinning up before Copse. Is that much drier now?
Must be, because I only saw 1 car spin in that session. So.
OK, only 1 car has spun. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Bruce, you like everybody, you can see on the screen, in fact, as you say that, number 9, Nick Chester has a spin. But that's the second car to spin in the session. So there aren't that many spins going on, and I think Nick Chester will be able to get going again. Yeah, off he goes. So the time's continuing to come down as the session goes on. There's still 24 minutes to go. And Roger Wills still with the fastest time, 2.4 seconds quicker now than Nicolas Menacion. David Mercer in his Spice has come up to 3rd quickest again, number 41. 4th is Peter Merrick in his C2 Spice, then Peter Stubber in the Viscandia. Then we've got Gareth Evans in the Sauber Mercedes is now 6th. Steve Tandy's Nissan is 7th. 8th is Richard Ayres in the Jaguar. 9th is the Jägermeister Porsche of Christophe Dansenburg and Hervé Ragout. And 10th is the number 6 Lancia, Rupert Cleveley. Dropping down a bit to 11th now is the number 12. Do I mean number 12? Russell Kempnick. Yeah, number 12. He's out of numerical order in the programme. He comes after 18 for some reason. Russell Kempnick with the Iseki Porsche 956 is 12th fastest. And that time's continuing to come down. Not exactly tumbling, but they are coming down by the lap. I think we'll find number 4 in the hands of Robin Ward will begin to move up the times a little now. So last time around, Nicolas Menacion not lapping as quickly by some 3 seconds as Roger Wills. Which is your favourite, Chris, out of this lot?
It's probably that Peugeot, actually. Probably that Peugeot, I'd say. It is pretty stunning, isn't it? Although the Lancias I quite like as well.
Exactly, those Lancias. The Merc, I think the Sauber, it's functional. And it just doesn't seem... A great thing about Group C was you've got all these different types of engines involved as well, whether it's the V12 or the V6 in the Jaguars. You've got the 3.2 engine or the 3-litre flat 6 engine in the Porsches. You've got the Cosworth DFE or DFL engines in quite a few cars, the Ford Cosworth engine, and 5-litre V8 engine in the twin-turbo engine in the Mercedes. So the order's not really shuffling around that much, although the lap times are continuing to come down. I suppose Peter Merrick is dropping down the order a bit as the more powerful cars can use their power rather more as the track gets drier. Kent Abrahamson in his Nissan is somewhere down the times, only 12th at the moment, number 28. Kent, a huge enthusiast for Group C racing. Also, they're into a good collection of Chevron historic cars. Mike Donovan still in the pits by the looks of things.
He is, but all the bodywork is back on board, and I think he's just fired it up as we speak. So 111 will be back. That's the Listerine Rexona sponsored car.
I'm afraid we've got a bit of a smoky, actually. Henrik Lindbergh in the Porsche has got this smoke. In fact, the car as he went into the loop, it cleared a little bit on the way out, so perhaps one to keep an eye on that, the number 34 entry.
Running as a kind of two with a small two alongside. Richard Eyre runs as 22 for the purpose of this race. The car, the Bud Light Jaguar, that is, the American IMSA series Jaguar. Slightly different regulations were used in America from Group C in Europe, but for the purposes of historic Group C racing, the two types are run together. That's why you see the Jaguar in Bud Light rather than in the silk cut Castrol livery.
I think Roger Wills must be tiring. He's come in, brought his Lancia in. He's obviously done his 100 laps, as we said. I was looking to see if they're about to put some different tyres on the car, but nothing as dastardly as that. I'll let you know when I get up there.
Spin number 2 for Peter Merrick.
Yeah.
This time on the other side of the track. That was coming out of Maggots into Beckett's. He kept the engine running and just a 180-degree spin, gets going again. How's the David Mercer getting on, the number 41 Spice? I say, he looks pretty handy through this part of the circuit.
Yeah, he dropped down. He was quick early on, dropped down. He's now coming up again. He's just going past me now, and his last lap was not an improvement. In fact, he's 4th fastest, however. But the Vescandia is still there. It's 5th quickest. As Bruce has just told us, Roger Wills is in the pits. Nicolas Menassion is still circulating, rather than paying a pit visit for any kind of adjustments. We've still got 90 minutes to go, so still plenty of time.
Nick Chester's just had a spin, almost exactly the same spot that Peter Merrick did, coming into the breakers over Beckett's, but he gathered it up beautifully. 360-degree spin, barely didn't stop, and then carried straight on again, so didn't lose all that much time, and crucially kept it out of the gravel trap.
We've got quite a dice coming up towards Abbey at the moment. That was the Peugeot, Nicolas Menassion, running alongside the Tic Tac Mints Porsche number 33 of Henrik Lindbergh. That's a 962. There's a brilliant book on, which is now a bit of a collector's item, on Group C racing by Ian Briggs, and that covers the whole history of Group C right up to 1992, and it's a mine of information. The only pity is that it was not published at great expense, so it's not a colour pic. There's not colour pictures in it of all the different signs. There's an absolutely typical example of what the Porsches were like at Le Mans in the various liveries. This is the Jägermeister car.
And you're looking at Hervé Regu. He's just taken over one of the 2 driver changes. Christophe Dansambourg, fellow Belgian, is just checking out the tyres. They're leaving it on wet, no surprise there. And in fact, just turning around, Roger Wills still sitting in the pit on wets as well. But I think that Jägermeister colour scheme is still one of my favourites.
It is, isn't it? It's whether it's on a 962 or 956 Porsche, or of course on the BMWs when they came and raced at Silverstone in the 6R races, driven by Hans Stuck and others. Does it make you drink Jägermeister, Bruce?
Nothing would make me drink Jägermeister.
All right, well, now as the track gets drier, so power is being unleashed by the likes of Steve Tandy in the Nissan and Gareth Evans in the Sauber Mercedes. So although Roger Wills still has pole position, his advantage is dwindling, and we've still got 17.25 minutes to go to the end of the session. 1.1 seconds is the difference now between Roger Wills and the Lancia, still sitting in the pits. My favourite Group C Porsche livery is the Cannon livery of Richard Lloyd Racing.
Yeah, that was very, very tidy, wasn't it? But I just love looking down, not the whole grid of Le Mans, but a good half of the grid on. Wonderful.
Absolutely. All the different liveries in the Porsche. Brilliant sight. So we've got Steve Tandy, Gareth Evans, 2nd and 3rd now. Nicolas Menassion's fallen to 4th. No, he hasn't. He's come back up to second. And now I think as the track dries out, Nicola, who has not been round the track, of course, until this morning, although he's raced here in the past, very recent past as well. He's now to second and only 0.7 of a second behind Roger Wills. So I'm beginning to feel that Roger's present pole position is under threat. So there's the Peugeot on the screen. It's great to get Derek Warwick talking about his Le Mans and his whole season in these cars and life with Jean Todt and how good that was, how good a manager Jean Todt was. Maybe Toyota was the principal opposition. They only had the one team to fight against by then because other manufacturers had gone other ways.
But they did do a very, very good lunch, may I say.
Yes, you may. Talking of food, when are we going to get something to eat? Steve Tandy's come up to second quickest. He's just gone ahead by a few hundredths of a second ahead of Nicolas Menassian. Gareth Evans is fourth, David Mercer fifth, Peter Stubber in the Escandia sixth, Peter Merrick is seventh in the number 102 Spice, the Group C2 car. Christoph Dansenburg has done the time because we only just now seen Hervé Rigout getting into that car. Rupert Cleverley is ninth in the number 6, Lancia Richard Eyre is 10th in the number 22 Jaguar, and Robin Ward in the number 4 Lancia is going to work his way up the order now. He's 13th fastest. And Mike Donovan, where is he? We've done a quicker lap time, but I don't know that all is still right with that car. 15 minutes exactly to the end of the session. We could keep this going a bit longer and get really Le Mans about all this, couldn't we? And have the Peugeot driving into the dusk. And I must say, Chris, these cars, I think, look so much better than the modern type of prototype, because they all tend to look the same, because that's what the wind tunnel and the computers say they ought to look like.
Yeah, it's like you're saying about Formula 1, isn't it? It's,
yes.
It's all in the finite detail now, but I know it's slightly different in Formula 1 terms, say, this year with the noses being slightly different on various cars. But,
yeah,
you know, so go back to the last couple of years, I bet most people, your general viewers, wouldn't really, if they're all painted the same colour, wouldn't be able to tell the difference. That sort of big, boastful innovation, the likes of Colin Chapman and all these designers of these great sports cars, you almost feel it's sort of gone into the science lab a bit now, rather than being an engineering feat, don't you?
But with Group C, all these cars are different shapes. So if you had a Toyota here, it would look different from the Peugeot. Easily picked out, and the Porsche looked different from the Sauber Mercedes and the Jaguar and so on.
And another beauty of Group C is you can see who's in the cockpit. The current Le Mans cars could be standing 3 feet away, and the curvature on the windscreen, which is tiny anyhow, is so great. You know, your guess is as good as mine. And
they don't make the sort of noise that Peugeot is making either, do they?
No, they're nearly silent, which, quite frankly, because I work in the pits at Le Mans, is a bit frightening. They come up, they creep up behind you. You do need 360-degree vision to stay alive in the pits now. And anyhow, racing cars should make noise. End of story.
Yes. Nicolas Menassian is winding the Peugeot up more and more now. He's got the gap down between him and Roger Wills to 0.4 of a second. Is Roger still in the pits, or has he gone out again?
No, he's out again. In fact, I think he just drove past.
Yes, here he is.
He did.
Yes, here they are. We've got two of them together, 5 and 6. 5 Roger Wills, and just behind him Rupert Cleverley, numerical order those two. So Roger's going to have to rise to the occasion now. There's Mike Donovan going through. I think he's still struggling with that car. Mike will be much further at times normally than this. So Nicolas Menassian improved his time last time around. There's Gareth Evans in the Sauber Mercedes, not improving. I think he's still struggling a bit. And there's the Peugeot. Just behind the number 12 Russell Kempnick Iseki Porsche. And I'm afraid Russell Kempnick carving up Nicolas Menassian there, despite the blue flag. Drove across his bows going into Abbey. So there's the car that currently has pole position. Nicolas Menassian last time around didn't improve his time. Great sight those two Lanciers make as they turn through Copse Corner. I'll be with you in a moment, Chris.
Yeah, Roger Wills looking quick as soon as he went out. He made quick work of getting past Rupert Cleverly in the number 6 Lancia that was coming into the complex here, into the village. And by the time I see him on the other side of the circuit, he's already probably something like 3 seconds clear. So that car about to go through Chapel and onto the back straight. They're still a bit tentative on the brakes into say Beckett's, but what is visible is how much more confident, more aggressive they are on the throttle coming out through Aintree and onto the Wellington straight now. A lot more grip available.
Right, we've got 11.25 minutes to go, and most recent improvement is the number 17. That's the Jägermeister Porsche, which now has Hervé Ragu in it, who was once an up-and-coming young Formula 3 driver, but that was a few years ago. And he's going quicker than Christoph Danzenborg, and that car's now 7th fastest. Richard Eyre in the cockpit of his Jaguar, which at the moment is 10th quickest. Roger Wills through that time 2:14.1, pulled well clear of Rupert Cleverly. Nicolas Menassion second. Gareth Evans in the Sauber Mercedes is 5th. Clearly some problem with the Jaguar. Mike Donovan being reeled in by number 41, David Mercer. David Mercer in the C1 Spice. Yeah, Hervé Ragu has got that going nicely now. That he's gone 2nd quickest, no less. So Hervé Ragu, the number 17 Jägermeister Porsche, now 2nd quickest, 2:13.560, just 0.151 of a second slower than Roger Wills. So don't know how much racing Hervé has done in recent times in this sort of car, but he was a quick driver some years ago, has raced at Le Mans in his time, and he's making that Jägermeister car, the orange car, go very well. There's the Tic Tac Minz car of Henrik Lindberg, who is somewhere down. Yes, he's 16th. So here's the car that's 2nd quickest. And the rate he's going, Hervé Ragu could end up with taking pole position. As you can see the name Brun on the sun strip. It was Walter Brun who ran the team. Thierry Boutsen drove this car. The quick Belgian driver. And at the moment it's heading towards you, Chris. Could be on a pole position lap here.
Yeah, although I'm not sure he was absolutely on it as he came out through the loop of Aintree earlier on. It didn't seem like he was fully on it there, and short shifted a little bit. So we'll see. He looks quick enough going through Beckett's, that's for sure. Behind him on the track is the number 2 Peugeot of Nicolas Menassion. And I was about to say how much more confident Paul Stubber, the Australian, was looking in the Vescander number 21. And then on what looked like a good lap for him, he outbraked himself and put a couple of wheels on the grass through maggots, and will have scrubbed off about a second there as he lost time.
Well, lap times continue to come down in many cases, and Gareth Evans goes on to pole position in the Sauber Mercedes. So Gareth Evans in the number 62 Sauber Mercedes takes pole position, the Mercedes C9, 2 minutes 12.761, which may mean, therefore, as he goes over the line, what does Hervé Ragu do? He doesn't improve, in fact, a lap that was slightly slower. So we've got a new pole position car, the Sauber Mercedes, number 62. Well, we had it, but now Nicolas Menassion has gone on to pole position in the Peugeot. He's done a 2 minutes 12.364. That's 0.397 of a second quicker than Gareth Evans. So clearly, as the track is getting drier and drier, and as Chris confirmed this on the line, it's looking much drier now. Yeah.
Certainly. Yeah. Certainly. Damp rather than wet now. So the number 17 Jägermeister branded Hervé Ragu driven Porsche is heading up towards Brooklands now. Probably heading towards Copse Corner is Gareth Evans, who looks to have a clear track in front of him. So it could well go down to the wire, this.
Yes.
Roger Wills, though, is stuck in the middle of a pack at the moment. He's stuck behind number 4, Robin Ward, in the other Lancia. It's going into Beckett's.
Well, they make a great sight. They've got the Viscandia right behind them, keeping up with them as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think he still could improve his time here.
Oh, well, I think everybody has the potential to do that because of the way in which the track is getting. Steve Tandy has gone 3rd quickest now in the Nissan. And the driver who was top of the time so much of the session, Roger Wills, has dropped down to 4th. There he is, number 5. We've got 1.5 minutes to go, so I think Roger's going to get through into one more lap, and it could work in his favour. But Nicolas Menassion at the moment, 0.397 of a second quicker in the Peugeot than Gareth Evans. Steve Tandy 3rd, Roger Wills 4th, Hervé Ragu 5th. Just as it seemed he might get onto the front row. Well, he was on the front row, but onto pole position. He's now dropped down to 5th. Then David Mercer, Peter Stubber, and Peter Merrick, Rupert Cleveley, and Russell Kempnick complete the top 10.
Of the front runners, the one that looked to have the cleanest lap to me, and he's going down the Angus Straight now, Nicolas Menassion in the number 2 Peugeot. And we just had a hat-trick, a 3rd spin for Peter Merrick. That was this time, different corner at least, going into Village, but he's gathered it up, got going again.
Roger Wills didn't improve, possibly because he was stuck in that traffic, but he's now on what will effectively be his last lap. Gareth Evans didn't improve that time around. And what about the others? Steve Tandy hasn't yet come through. Nicolas Menassion dropped down to 2nd. Hervé Ragu has taken pole position. Hervé Ragu has taken pole position for the moment. 2:12.297, 67 thousandths. This is long distance racing, guys. 67 thousandths of a second quicker than Nicolas Menassion. So the good old Porsche has taken pole position, thanks to its driver, in no little extent. 2 minutes 12.297 for Hervé Ragu. Nicolas Menassion 2nd. The flag is a couple of seconds away. Next car out of club will get the flag, I think. We've certainly had, yes, they will. Yep. So first one through is Steve Tandy. Does he go quicker? No. So he's 4th at the moment. But everybody else still to come through. Remember, it is at the moment Hervé Ragu on pole position in the Jägermeister car. Bruce, you will have to take up drinking Jägermeister now.
Oh, all right, if you wish, but only at the end of the evening.
Okay.
Mine is not a pint.
No, just a small glass. And who else have we got coming through? That's the Tic Tac car. Russell Kemp. No, Henrik Lindbergh. That didn't improve.
That's just ruined it for Ragu. He just caught Peter Garrod right at the entry to Beckett's. He's stuck behind him all the way through. Menassion still looks to be pushing hard, though. He looked very quick as he went out through Aintree. Right. And he's now at Beckett's corner, number 2. Peugeot looking quick.
Gareth Evans coming up towards the end. He's 3rd quickest at the moment with the Sauber Mercedes. Here he comes up towards the timing line. Well, this could be the pole position lap. Goes over the line and no, slightly quicker than his previous lap. Well, good enough for pole position. Nicolas Menassion dipping down into the Vale. Can he get pole position? Which we kind of predicted, but I must have had a lot of doubts about it. But he may take it this time. Comes up to the end of the lap. The Peugeot goes over the line. Is he getting onto pole position? No. A few hundredths off his previous lap. So Nicolas Menassion will start from the front row. But an excellent effort by Hervé Ragu in the Porsche, number 17, means that he has pole position at 2:12.297, 67 thousandths of a second quicker than Nicolas Menassion. That's a bit close there. And Hervé Ragu showing his elbows there to one of the Lancia drivers. Roger Wills did improve his time on the last lap, but he still stays 5th. So Menassion in the Peugeot 2nd quickest. Gareth Evans in the Sauber Mercedes 3rd. White Yield drool over the Porsche on the screen there. Gareth Evans 3rd, 2 minutes 12.761. Steve Tandy 4th in the Nissan number 27, 2:12.823. 5th, number 5, Roger Wills in the best of the Lancias, 2:12.931. 6th, number 41, David Mercer's Spice SE90C, 2:13.359. 7th, number 21, Peter Stubber with the Viscandia, 2:15.454. 8th and quickest of the small C2 class, number 102, Peter Merrick, 2:19.196. 9th, number 6, Rupert Cleveley's Lancia, 2:19.273. And 10th, number 12, Russell Kempnick's Porsche, 2:20.147. 11th, but with some sort of problem, number 22, Richard Ayres Jaguar, 2:20.366. 12th, despite a spin or two, number 9, Nick Chester with his Spice SE88, running as a Group C1 car, a time of 2:20.982. That's Nick Chester. And then 30th, number four in the hands of its second driver, Robin Ward, coming up to 30th fastest, 2:21.782 in the third of the Lanciers. 40th, number 33, the tic-tac car of Henrik Lindberg, tic-tac Porsche, 2:22.779. 15th, the second of the Group C2 cars, number 164, Adrian Watt in the Argo JM19C, 2:23.055. 16th, the somewhat subdued Kent Abrahamson with his Nissan, number 28. In the original Nissan livery, that car, 2:23.590. 17th, number 111, Mike Donovan, trouble with that electrical misfire in his Spice C2, 2:26.583. 18th, number 30, Peter Garrett with his Nissan, 2:36.822. 19th, number 21, no, it can't be 21, it's number 71. Number 71, and that is Georg Schalgren with the Courage C26S, 2:39.846. And 20th, number 112, Jonathan Fay with the Tiger, a 2:53.335. Just one other car, quickly give it a mention. The other Jaguar, number 140, the car of Don Miles, the XJR 5B Jaguar, 3 minutes 3.098.